It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome to a Friday. Well, over the last couple of weeks, there's been the ebbs and flows. One day you wake up and you're like, oh, okay, Biden's going to be gone by the end of the day. By the end of the day, you're saying, oh, no, looks like he's in for good. And it's been doing this cycle thing for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, after last night, it was that cycle again where you started hearing Democrats saying, really coming, especially his supporters, saying, wait a minute, hold it. What a great performance.
Uh-huh.
Some said that, what a great performance. Others said, well, it was good enough where has extended his chance to prove himself again.
Yeah.
Right. Both are really incorrect on it. But adding to that, what you got was the George Clooney op-ed piece where the story came out that Obama approved it.
Right.
Which meant Obama approves Clooney writing a letter saying Biden has to get out.
Mm-hmm.
So then it became Chris Matthews last night. We played the audio cut earlier talking about the fact that this is a, Biden camp against an Obama camp, basically civil war now. And they don't like each other. That the Biden family does not, that this actually makes it where it's more likely that Biden's going to stay in because it's Obama that wants him out. And he feels betrayed that Obama picked Hillary instead of him. That's still hanging over his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, where's this going? So is he going to stay? Was the performance good enough? Because this is all about Democrats. It doesn't matter what I think on it or anybody else thinks. All it matters is, what Democrats want and who can pressure them. And if Obama, because this is the question, because we've heard, well, the only people that could get him to quit would be if Obama and Schumer and Jeffries and Hillary went to the White House and said, you've got to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, would Obama and Hillary there actually hurt the cause?
Yeah.
If Biden sees them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, where are we in this ebb and flow? Is Biden in? Is Biden out? Well, here's the reality. At least 3 more. This came out last night after midnight. At least 3 more House Democrats called on President Biden to withdraw from the presidential race after his first solo news conference in months following the NATO summit. Even though Biden's team felt optimistic about his performance, it remained unclear whether he did enough to repair the damage with members of his party who worry he no longer has what it takes to defeat Donald Trump and be effective for another 4 years. Representative Jim Hines, who is the highest Democrat on I don't want to say the highest Democrat. The
highest ranking?
Thank you. The highest ranking Democrat on the Intelligence Committee.
We're not sure if he's the highest, though.
Praised Biden as a remarkable leader of unparalleled public service, but he's got to go.
Yeah.
I've been fired a few times that way. You are a remarkable talent. You are unparalleled in your character as a person. You're exactly the kind of employee that we need working here. You're fired.
Yeah, it's a common thing in radio. Your job is secure, but we're giving it to somebody else.
Your job's secure.
The job is very secure.
You're right.
You're just not going to be doing it.
The 2024 election will define the future of American democracy, and we must put forth the strongest candidate possible to confront the threat posed by Trump's promised MAGA authoritarianism, Himes said in a statement. God, they can't win that.
No.
Think about it, because that's the whole thing of democracy.
Yeah.
They can't win it. And the other thing, and I've seen a few articles written on it in just the last 48 hours as they've gone back to that again, the Democrats pounding the authoritarianism coming from it. It said it doesn't resonate with the public because Trump was president for 4 years.
Right.
It's not like he wasn't president.
Right.
People know he's not an authoritarian.
Right.
I no longer believe that is Joe Biden, and I hope that as he has throughout a lifetime of public service, he will continue to put our nation first, and as he promised, make way for a new generation of leaders. That's sort of putting the whole patriotism thing again. Mm-hmm. We believe that Joe Biden will do the most patriotic thing.
Yeah.
Well, he believes that's staying. Yeah.
Right.
Do you?
Right.
Well, no. Whatever his decision is the most patriotic thing.
Uh-huh. Right. That's what you meant. Sure.
Representative Scott Peters said in his own post-news conference statement that Biden's debate performance last month was not a blip and that swing state polls have worsened alarmingly since then. Today, I asked President Biden to withdraw from the presidential campaign. The stakes are high. We are on a losing course. My conscience requires me to speak up and put loyalty to the country and to democracy ahead of my great affection for and loyalty to the president and those around him.
Yeah.
I've heard that one, too.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are you a great communicator and a great talk show host and a great person, I'm telling you, but you are loyal, and we are so loyal to you. You're fired. Get the hell out of here.
Your job
Security's
is secure.
waiting for you at your cubicle. We must find a candidate from our deep bench of talent who can defeat Donald Trump. And then finally, Representative Eric Sorensen, a Democrat from Illinois, who is running for re-election in a competitive district in November, said he is hopeful President Biden will step aside in his campaign for president and be replaced with a candidate for president who will communicate a positive vision for every person in this country. In 2020, Joe Biden ran for president with the purpose of putting country over party. Today, I'm asking him to do that again. Mm-hmm. But despite new opposition, Biden's team felt good about his news conference and confident that it could stem the defections and reassure Democratic skeptics, which, by the way, brought joy to Republicans.
Yeah.
Because Republicans want Joe Biden to be the candidate.
Yes. Absolutely.
I think the best, get the best headline that I saw yesterday in National Review: catastrophe for Democrats as Biden avoids catastrophe. Now, again, we go back to Chris Coons. We played the audio cut yesterday saying, don't expect much from Biden. Don't have a higher bar.
Yeah.
Because he can't reach that higher bar. He stutters.
Right.
That was
right.
Chris Coons.
We've always known he stuttered.
And so there is, since people have known how his cognitive abilities have lessened over the last 4 years, they know it. There is a lower bar for Biden.
Yeah, right.
And it's like if he can get out there and, not if he goes out there and just throws 5 interceptions in the first quarter, it's not 10.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's where we are right now. And so you did hear social media was humorous. It really was. Republicans are worried now because last night we saw the real Biden and MAGA is panicking.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Really?
Well, no, if you looked at the headlines first, you would think, oh my gosh, they were able to get some kind of superpower and give him this new superpower and something miraculous. Oh, wait, that's not what happened. I don't know why you would try and sell that knowing that people are going to watch it for themselves. They still live in the abstract far too often, as if people wouldn't tune in and watch it after the fact. If you didn't watch it live, you can watch it via streaming in many different places and you're going to see the stories about it. You're going to see what happened, and why you try and sell it as something that it's not. You're just delusional, I guess, hoping that nobody is, or that enough people won't pay attention.
We've called it a civil war inside the Democratic Party. It's going to continue, and it's even going to get, I think, more brutal. Maybe that's the word, more blunt and brutal, especially since now it's being portrayed as Biden versus Obama.
Yeah.
Now it's got personalities. Now it's got two people attached to it. This is a war between the Biden people and the Obama people. And that, along with these two contrasting opinions coming from Democrats, a source in Biden's orbit.
Yeah. In Biden's orbit.
Oh, my God.
He has an orbit.
That's funny. Where are you? I'm in Biden's orbit.
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean?
Hanging out in Biden's orbit.
A source in Biden's orbit, this is how it was written, said the news conference should comfort open-minded skeptics who had legitimate questions after the debate about Biden's ability to battle Trump, offer a second-term vision, and lay out his contrast with Trump on Project 2025. That's the first thing in there.
Right.
Project 2025, abortion rights, gun safety legislation, and a fairer economic system. Biden world believes he stuck the landing, the source said.
Uh-huh. Right.
But a Democratic official who was forbidden from speaking publicly about the political dynamics of Biden's news conference, said he did not do anything to reassure Democrats that he understands how dire his political situation is or that he has a realistic plan to win. He seemed comfortable talking about foreign policy issues like NATO, issues that swing voters in battleground states do not care about at all, the Democratic official said. He also had no message for the future. The case he presented for re-election was all about achievements from 2 years ago. Wow. That's what you have right now. That's why you have all those things, is why you have the Civil War. But it was amped up like crazy after that news story came out about George Clooney getting that letter approved by Biden, through Obama,
right,
and getting it approved first.
Right.
Through him. That now has created two distinct sides. All right, who are these people? And as the Biden campaign is saying now, it is the elite Democrat. Now, some in the campaign you did hear saying the elite white Democrat.
Right.
But if Obama leads that, we're going to get into the whole thing on that again. Well, but is he, what is he?
Yeah.
Going to have that
right.
That'll come up because they're not going to lose their identity politics here. Let's be honest. But it's the elite now versus the working man president. And on the elitist side of the Democrat elitism is Obama, George Clooney, and Michael Moore. Oh my God!
You can't write this stuff.
I'm telling
in Hollywood.
I'm telling you right now, doing this job is better than sports.
It's better than most things.
Because it's so insane.
But it is exhausting.
Well, I'm a Bills fan, so I've dealt with that worst type of exhaustion.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is, and this is what is not being recognized by the Democrats on either side, that this is just the continuation of what we have seen over the last 4 years. This did not start with the debate. And that's where they're not in touch with the public. The public knows this has been going on for 4 years.
Yeah.
The public before the debate said, and the majority of Democrats said before the debate, Biden shouldn't be running.
Yeah.
They know it. And to pretend that this just came up and whether any one thing, because the one thing that turned everybody was that isolated debate where he had jet lag from 12 days earlier.
Yeah.
And he was overprepared and had a cold. That one problem can be solved by having a successful effort over here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not. If the premise is wrong, everything after it may seem right, but it's all wrong. In this case, the premise is wrong, and so Democrats that are hoping either way, saying, okay, this is going to disqualify him, or he'll be qualified because of the Lester Holt interview on Monday, or that will destroy him, or that will rise him up again. The public isn't there. The public understand. The public's been hip to this for the last 2 to 3 to 4 years.
Right. No, it's a lot like the inflation report. The public already knows. We've been witnessing this. We've been experiencing this from the beginning. From the beginning of his 2020 campaign, we've seen it.
866-90-RED-EYE.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
An effort years in the making.
Started many years ago, and I actually got to work on it myself when I was at USDA with great leaders.
Is now ramping up for an upcoming year-long recognition and celebration.
It's time for more work. The work that will go into making sure that 2026, people all over the world will recognize the impact of women farmers.
Former Agriculture Deputy Secretary Krista Harden and the current Deputy Secretary Xochitl Torres-Small, respectively, at a recent kickoff event at USDA headquarters for International Year of the Women Farmer event planning. The United Nations resolution was approved in May, presented by Deputy Secretary Torres-Small and U.S. Ambassador to the UN Linda Thomas Greenfield.
All the women in the world, in the global labor force, 2/5 work in agri-food systems. In many regions, that number is even higher.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. All right, this is, we never got to play this audio, and I want to play it because it was just pure greatness. Jim Acosta, we haven't heard from him in a while, and Scott Jennings, a Republican strategist or the Republican, former Republican advisor who's, a CNN, whatever you call it. Contributor. Thank you very much for that. And it was on Project 2025. All right.
Yeah.
And, of course, this is a Heritage Foundation, so they've, tied it to Trump, or they've attempted to try it to Trump, and they continue it here. And this from Scott Jennings is just wonderful. Here we go.
What's going on? Why is Trump, why are his advisors trying to distance themselves from the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025? I mean, it sounds like, they are very much like-minded on a lot of these things.
Because they're not the president. They're not running for president. Heritage Foundation doesn't appear on the ballot. The people working on this don't appear on the ballot. The only person who decides what policies they're going to pursue is the person on the ballot or the person in the Oval Office. At least that used to be the case. Today with Joe Biden, I'm not so sure, given the reporting about how he's out to lunch or whatever. But in this case, Donald Trump will ultimately decide what his agenda is, and that's why the RNC put out a platform. If the Democrats want to play this game, though, I think they should be prepared to own every single policy proposal ever issued by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the rest of the squad, Bernie Sanders, socialist organizations in America that support that group. If you want to play this game, then you're going to have to own everything, starting with defund the police. So what I'm going to assume, Jim, is that Democrats want to own, for Joe Biden, defund the police. If they
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, it's been a pretty exhausting week. You've used the term exhausting. This whole thing going on for 2 weeks is pretty exhausting, which it is. I mean, there's humor in it, but it's not even close to ending yet. The only thing that may slow it down a little bit is the RNC next week. But will the mainstream media even pay much attention to what's going on? I know the coverage will probably be there, the Thursday night. But with this going on with the Democrats, remember, Mike Johnson, when the Republicans held their first press conference this week, as he said, nobody's here. He goes, it's never been. There's always been reporters asking us and challenging us on everything. Because they're all over talking to Democrats now about what's going on with Biden.
Well, keep in mind, the reason that is that the liberal media activists have a direct interest and investment in what happens to the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
They can always report on what's going on with Trump. I mean, and if there's nothing going on, they can make it up. And they have. So, yeah, they'll cover the convention, but really for them, they have a direct interest in the outcome of the ticket on the left. They are invested fully. So they have a great concern, a personal concern for many of them as to how all that pans out.
Will there be the normal, 2 or 3 or 4 point boost for Republicans after the convention if Democrats continue to the infighting continues all the way through the Republican National Convention? And these are questions, and I don't know. This election you cannot compare to any election out there. They're attempting to do it. There's just too many variables here that have never existed before.
Right.
I mean, everything from the lawfare to what's going on now with the Democrats and Biden, plus where the Democratic Party has gone over the last 4 years. Actually, well, I'll say the last 8 years on the issues.
Yeah,
I mean, on the issues, the things that they promote. You heard Scott Jennings saying it to Jim Acosta. Then you guys own defund the police. You guys own the Green New Deal. Because remember, they all backed it. Then remember the Green New Deal, where they all backed it. And then when you had scientists and engineers come out and go, "This is really stupid." Well, we didn't back it. We didn't back it. We just said it was interesting and we should consider it. Yeah, you had to back off because it was idiotic. It was insane. Someone who has no idea how the world works, engineering or scientific wise, AOC put it out.
Yeah.
So of course she was clueless.
Yep.
And so I wonder I wonder what it's going to be really a week from now, because a week from now, really everything will be finished for the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
But does anybody really care, or is it just a given? And I say, do they not even care because it's a given? We know where the Republican Party stands completely right now. They're unified. Nikki Haley saying, delegates, you're free to go to Trump yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That ended it.
Right.
And there is really no infighting. The never Trumpers don't matter anymore to the Republican Party.
Well, and you have quite, I won't say the opposite, but certainly different situation in terms of the delegates on the left. And one of the things that we talked about earlier this week, and that is one of the reporters over at Politico. And his breakdown, and he had a thread on X just the other night, and was talking about how he was reaching out to some of these delegates in the Democratic Party. And one of them basically making the point that, and it's only one delegate, to be clear, according to him, that they're going to vote their conscience. But they're being told, and they're being questioned by the administration, by the campaign and the administration, as to what their temperature is. They're essentially calling these, and this is Jonathan Martin from Politico. And for those that didn't hear it, he put this out on X just the other night, X formerly known as the FBI headquarters. New, again, Jonathan Martin from Politico, new, Biden aides are telephoning convention delegates to head off a rebellion in Chicago. By the way, reading this again it just feels so old because so many things happen all the time now. I talked to 4 delegates who got temp taking calls this week. I've also learned of an effort by delegates asking for rule change so they can vote their conscience. And then there's another post, but the third post in this thread here by Jonathan Martin of Politico, it's hard to overstate the despair among some Democrat delegates and many Democrat officials and aides, including those working on Biden's campaign. Are they the ones doing that research on Kamala Harris versus Trump? Sadness, anger, and shock that this is real. Again, Jonathan Martin at Politico. So you have a very united GOP, Republican Party, that's going to convention in a very conventional way next week. Okay, it's slightly unconventional anytime Trump is involved. But it is going to be essentially the layout of it, the schedule, and how it all goes down is going to be very conventional. And right now, they're trying to determine when they even have the roll call vote for the Democrats and where the delegates are going to go. And they're getting calls, according to Jonathan Martin. They're getting calls. Hey, what are you thinking? Well, you don't do that unless you're extremely worried. And according to Jonathan Martin, even some working in the Biden campaign are very, very concerned, and they should be.
And the Republican Party is so unified that Ted Cruz might not get booed.
Right. Speaking of vote your conscience. Boo! Conscience. Boo! Boo! We don't have a conscience. Boo!
No, but you think about. We haven't even got into this discussion. We may do more of this next week. I got to get to these audio cuts though, because we need some entertainment. It's been an exhaustive. We need some entertainment. But when you think about how united the Republican Party is right now, and how divided the Democrats are right now, where now, as of yesterday, you've got the camps. You've got the Biden camp. And again, it's the Biden administration doing it because still so many Democrats are silent who want Biden out. But Biden's out there saying, and he's got people in the media. He's got Chris Matthews. He's got other MSNBC hosts absolutely backing him and saying that he is the candidate of the working person, and it's the elite that wish to take over the party and have the elite run it, which is now the Obama camp, the Obama, George Clooney, and Michael Moore camp. Michael Moore is now part of the elite. I mean, this is how crazy it is right now. But you have a Republican Party that is quite unified. We'll see whether it holds, during the entire convention. I believe it will. And I think Nikki Haley releasing her delegates, and then they even asked, "Were you invited to the RNC?" And they asked her, "You weren't invited to the RNC. What's your feeling?" She goes, "Oh, I support our nominee, fully supportive of it. They can do what they wish to do at the RNC, and I'm fully behind them." I'm like, boy, they're at that point now where it's like, okay, there may be disagreements, but they are unified in defeating the Democrats. And I won't just say Biden. It's the Democrats.
Yeah.
It's the ideology that I believe the 70 to 80% that all Republicans agree on, that they see what the Democrats have done to destroy that 80% that they all have common ground on, and they want that gone.
And Richard writes us something that we have said. I don't know if Richard heard us say it or not, but he writes us on X and says something the Democrats are setting up here is the argument that Biden lost because of his age, in the event that he loses in November. And I tend to believe that he will, not his policies. And I do think that that's what they'll go to. That's, look, there was a lot made about his age, and even within the infighting and blah, 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 and it was too much to hold the campaign together, blah, blah, blah. I agree with Richard. I think that's where they'll go. But they won't win that with the American people.
Yeah,
because,
good. Thank you. You're mirroring what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Because as we've said, and I think we've repeated that a couple of times this week, long before the debate, the issues were driving everything. And the issues are not in the abstract. They're the reality. The reality of the unaffordable right now cost of living, and the border, and national security, and terrorism, and pro-terrorism on the left.
Yeah, you can't
and all
win
of it. You can't get away from that.
All right, here we go. You ready?
All right.
The audio cuts. This is the best of the View this week. And we start with Joy Behar. Right. Here we go.
What really ticks me off about him, though, is this laughing Kamala remark. Mm-hmm. It's such a sexist remark, because a guy I was with over the weekend, a friend of mine, they said Kamala's laugh annoys me. Remember they said that about Hillary's laugh, that she was cackling. And men, they don't like a funny woman. They're afraid if you laugh or you make a joke that maybe you'll do that when they're in bed with you. It's like this fear of women's laughing and comedy. Yes.
That's very good psychotherapy.
And what was that reference to the Washington Monument? Well, looks very much like a penis to me.
And we have one more.
Oh, it's not over.
It's not over. We've got one more View audio cut. Here we go.
I don't care if he's pooped his pants. I don't care if he can't put a sentence together. I have poopy days all the time.
Poopy whoopy.
Poopy whoopy.
By the way, did you hear the audience laugh there? I don't care if he pooped his pants. The audience laughed at that. Yeah. They didn't go, oh, I can't believe she approached that. They laughed at it.
I love Joy Behar. Men. She didn't say Trump. She said men don't like funny women because men are afraid that if they are with a funny woman, the woman will laugh at them in bed.
Yeah.
We all want serious women.
I don't know what she would know about being funny.
We're so doomed.
Yeah, we are.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'll give you my prediction for next week. We'll be here.
That's the only thing we can tell you for sure is that we'll be here. Speaking of being somewhere, I'm going to, in fact, later today, fly out to Walcott, Iowa, the Iowa 80 truck stop, the world's largest truck stop. I will be there tomorrow. It is the 45th Walcott Truckers Jamboree. I'm going to host the Super Truck Beauty Contest Awards, as I've done for many, many years now. It's an honor that they have me back out there. They're a great, great organization. Drivers, the Jamboree's already started. It started yesterday, continues today and tomorrow. So get out there, and it's a great outdoor event, food and music, and lots of stuff. You can go to the Iowa 80 website and find out more. But I'll be out there tomorrow, flying out there, in fact, this afternoon. And I'll be out there on site all day tomorrow and hosting the the awards ceremony, and back here Sunday and Sunday night to get right back into the madness. And it's going to be a full week. We've got the GOP convention. We've got the Monday night Lester Holt Biden showdown interview, which they say is going to air in its entirety, is the way they phrased it at NBCNewYork.com. And the full unedited transcript will be available after it airs, they said, at NBCNews.com. We'll see if that turns into a controversy, or if NBC is now saying, look, we're going to air it. Everything is going to air. We'll see. It's going to be a primetime special, 9 p.m. Eastern on Monday night, and we're going to have Monday night plenty of audio from the convention, from Biden, and much more.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.